Bonsoir. Good evening. Today, the United States informed us they will be imposing 25% tariffs on Canadian exports to the United States and 10% on Canadian energy. A decision that, should they elect to proceed with, should take effect on Tuesday, February 4th. Tonight, first, I want to speak directly to Americans, our closest friends and neighbors. This is a choice that, yes, will harm Canadians, but beyond that, it will have real consequences for you, the American people. As I have consistently said, tariffs against Canada will put your jobs at risk, potentially shutting down American auto assembly plants and other manufacturing facilities. They will raise costs for you, including food at the grocery stores and gas at the pump. They will impede your access to an affordable supply of vital goods crucial for U.S. security, such as nickel, potash, uranium, steel, and aluminum. They will violate the free trade agreement that the President and I, along with our Mexican partner, negotiated and signed a few years ago. But it doesn't have to be this way. As President John F. Kennedy said many years ago, geography has made us neighbors, history has made us friends, economics has made us partners, and necessity has made us allies. That rang true for many decades prior to President Kennedy's time in office and in the decades since. From the beaches of Normandy to the mountains of the Korean Peninsula, from the fields of Flanders to the streets of Kandahar, we have fought and died alongside you. During your darkest hours, during the Iranian hostage crisis, those 444 days we worked around the clock from our embassy to get your innocent compatriots home. During the summer of 2005, when Hurricane Katrina ravaged your great city of New Orleans, or mere weeks ago, when we sent water bombers to tackle the wildfires in California. During the day the world stood still, September 11th, 2001, when we provided refuge to stranded passengers and planes, we were always there, standing with you, grieving with you, the American people. Together, we've built the most successful economic, military, and security partnership the world has ever seen. A relationship that has been the envy of the world. Yes, we've had our differences in the past, but we've always found a way to get past them. As I've said before, if President Trump wants to usher in a new golden age for the United States, the better path is to partner with Canada, not to punish us. Canada has critical minerals, reliable and affordable energy, stable democratic institutions, shared values, and the natural resources you need. Canada has the ingredients necessary to build a booming and secure partnership for the North American economy, and we stand at the ready to work together. Let's take a moment to talk about our shared border. Our border is already safe and secure, but there's always more work to do. Less than 1% of fentanyl, less than 1% of illegal crossings into the United States come from Canada. But hearing concerns from both Canadians and Americans, including the American president himself, we're taking action. We launched a $1.3 billion border plan that is already showing results, because we too are devastated by the scourge that is fentanyl, a drug that has torn apart communities and caused so much pain and torment for countless families across Canada, just like in the United States. A drug that we too want to see wiped from the face of this earth. A drug whose traffickers must be punished. As neighbors, we must work collaboratively to fix this. Unfortunately, the actions taken today by the White House split us apart instead of bringing us together. Tonight, I am announcing Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods. This will include immediate tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods as of Tuesday, followed by further tariffs on $125 billion worth of American products in 21 days' time to allow Canadian companies and supply chains to seek to find alternatives. Like the American tariffs, our response will also be far-reaching and include everyday items such as American beer, wine, and bourbon, fruits and fruit juices, including orange juice, along with vegetables, perfume, clothing, and shoes. It'll include major consumer products like household appliances, furniture, and sports equipment, and materials like lumber and plastics, along with much, much more. And as part of our response, we are considering, with the provinces and territories, several non-tariff measures, including some relating to critical minerals, energy, procurement, and other partnerships. We will stand strong for Canada. We will stand strong to ensure our countries continue to be the best neighbors in the world. With all that said, I also want to speak directly to Canadians in this moment. I'm sure many of you are anxious, but I want you to know we are all in this together. The Canadian government, Canadian businesses, Canadian organized labour, Canadian civil society, Canada's premiers, and tens of millions of Canadians from coast to coast to coast are aligned and united. This is Team Canada at its best. It might mean doing all of these things or finding your own way to stand up for Canada. In this moment, we must pull together because we love this country. We pride ourselves on braving the cold during the long winter months. We don't like to beat our chests, but we're always out there, waving the maple leaf loudly and proudly to celebrate an Olympic gold medal. On a notre propre identité, notre propre histoire et nos propres valeurs. Les Canadiens sont accueillants, ouverts, novateurs, ambitieux. On préfère régler nos disputes avec diplomatie, mais on est prêt à se battre quand c'est nécessaire. Canada is home to bountiful resources, breathtaking beauty, and a proud people who've come from every corner of the globe to forge a nation with a unique identity worth embracing and celebrating. We don't pretend to be perfect, but Canada is the best country on earth. There's nowhere else that I and our 41 million strong family would rather be, and we will get through this challenge, just as we've done countless times before, together. Thank you. Merci. It's been since the inauguration that I've been reaching out to speak with Donald Trump. I hope to speak with him sometime soon. In regards to actions we might take in terms of responding to the American trade action, there are a number of different industries and regions of the country that can have greater leverage over the United States. One thinks of the oil industry, for example. What is extremely important for me, and I think for all the premiers, is that no one region of the country or one industry carries a larger burden than anyone else in standing up for Canada. We need to all be in this together. This only works if Canadians are fully united from coast to coast to coast to stand up for this extraordinary and beautiful country. And that's why, as we look at different measures, including non-tariff measures that we might move forward on, we will not be moving forward on issues that further divide the country, which is why we're working with all premiers to look at different ways we can encourage the Americans to step back from these trade actions.
Bonjour.
I think Canadians are a little perplexed as to why our closest friends and neighbors are choosing to target us instead of so many other challenging parts of the world. I don't think there's a lot of Americans who wake up in the morning saying, oh, damn Canada. Oh, we should really go after Canada. We're there as friends, as partners. We always have been, we always will be. Sure, we're going through a difficult time right now, and yeah, emotions may run high here and there, particularly around hockey games. But I know we're going to make it through this because we have the most successful partnership the world has ever seen, and it's a true value in this time of really challenging geopolitical instability.
Gillian Piper with Global News. Prime Minister, will you recall Parliament to pass a bill to help Canadian workers and end prorogation?
As you can see from our strong response package, as we spoke about with premiers this afternoon and have for many weeks, we have the tools to be able to support Canadians through this challenging time as it stands. This is a moment for Canadians to pull together, including Canadians of all different political parties. This is a moment where we need to set aside our differences and focus on delivering for Canadians, standing up for Canadians, and protecting the most successful political, military, economic, and security partnership the world has ever seen. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We have the tools to do it as a government right now, and we will keep doing it alongside our premiers and our partners.
A member of the Canada-U.S. Council, Lana Payne, today said that an ally would not act this way, and therefore the U.S. is no longer Canada's ally. Do you agree with that?
Like I said, I think there are going to be people who are upset and even hurt by what's gone on here. But I have faith. I have faith in Canadians, but I also have faith in the friendship between Canada and the United States that has gone through challenging times before, but we always make it through because we've been able to count on each other for over 150 years, and we will continue to be able to do that long into the future. This is a friendship that has stood the test of time, and despite challenges that we can work on and we will work on together, we will continue to be friends and neighbors.
Prime Minister, you said earlier that you're not going to move forward on measures that would further divide the country. Does this mean that blocking energy exports is fully off the table?
It means that any conversations around further measures, particularly involving one industry or one region of the country more than another, is something that we're going to do carefully and thoughtfully and with the full partnership of regional leaders, provincial premiers, businesses. No one part of the country should be carrying a heavier burden than any other. We're in this together. We're all going to stand together, and we'll be there for each other from coast to coast to coast.
And President Trump said in the executive order that it's about the border and fentanyl. Do you think that this is what it's about?
We have one of the strongest, more secure borders in the world between Canada and the United States. As I said, less than 1% of fentanyl going into the United States come from Canada. Less than 1% of illegal migrants going into the United States come from Canada. That doesn't mean there isn't more to do. And that's why we've invested $1.3 billion in strengthening our borders. And we're seeing over the past number of weeks, past couple of months, the numbers significantly decrease at the border already. We are making progress in working together, including sending joint teams over to China to talk about the precursor chemicals that get developed into fentanyl all across North America. There are things that we can and must do together, and I understand the preoccupation the American president has with fentanyl deaths. We share those preoccupations. We've seen far too many communities across our country devastated by toxic drug supplies, by fentanyl, by opioid addictions. We have taken action over the years, but we're happy to do even more with the United States to counteract this horrific tragedy. That's why we have committed to doing even more and working alongside. But this trade action against Canada is not the best way we can actually work together to save lives.
Good evening, Prime Minister. Stephanie Taylor with the National Post. What does it tell you about your relationship with President Trump that you've been trying to get a hold of him and he hasn't been speaking with you?
I think this is a time where we've all remarked on just how active President Trump has been in engaging with a wide range of topics in his first weeks in office. As you all know, I've had many good and substantive conversations with President Trump over the past months, where we've highlighted the work that we can do. Our ministers and officials have been engaging, in many cases like today, multiple times a day with their counterparts to talk through these issues, to move forward on areas of mutual concern. We will continue to engage, and I will continue to be there to work with President Trump as we've worked together in the past. We've worked together to solve some pretty challenging issues over the years. I look forward to doing that again.
But if you can't get a hold of President Trump on a day as consequential as this, when it really matters, can Canada have a productive relationship with President Trump and the Trump administration moving forward?
As I've said, we've had a very effective and constructive series of conversations throughout the American administration. We'll continue to. I look forward to speaking with President Trump in the coming days and weeks. This is something that matters, but we've solved big issues before, and we will solve them again.
Last question, dernière question, s'il vous plaît.
Thanks for taking our questions. Raisa Patel, the Toronto Star. When did you first learn that President Trump intends to increase tariffs if Canada retaliates, and how has that changed your strategy?
I think Canadians understand that we need to respond to this. We need to respond in a way that is appropriate, that is measured but forceful, and that meets the moment. We're certainly not looking to escalate, but we will stand up for Canada, for Canadians, for Canadian jobs. We will also continue to do more together with the United States to counteract the scourge that is fentanyl. We will continue to work on growing our economies together, on creating jobs and competing with the rise of non-market economies around the world. We can and will do things together, and that is my focus. My job is to stand up for Canadians. That's exactly what we're doing. But we're also standing up for the relationship between Canada and the United States, which, as I've said, is the most successful partnership and friendship the world has ever seen.
You're dealing with the U.S. administration that says, there's nothing that you can do to stop this. We're not looking for any concessions. So do you see any conceivable way out of this because of that?
The coming weeks will be difficult for Canadians, and they'll be difficult for Americans. The level of cooperation, the level of effective partnerships between our two countries that have been established over decades and generations means that this trade action by the Americans and our response is going to have real consequences for people, for workers on both sides of our border. We don't want to be here. We didn't ask for this. But we will not back down in standing up both for Canadians and for the incredible, successful relationship and partnership between Canada and the United States. I look forward to working with the American administration on a range of challenging issues that our communities and our world is facing. And I hope that day comes soon. Merci beaucoup.
All right, this concludes today's press conference.